organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, we'll show you how Iowa City celebrates banned books.
And find out why fewer students are enrolling in graduate school.
And in sports, hear about how Iowa field hockey's 3-year goalie didn't even pick up the sport until high school. All that's coming your way next. Daily Iowan TV starts now. Thanks for tuning in to Daily Iowan TV, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan. I'm Reed Chandler.
And I'm Megan Grody. Every year, the American Library Association holds a nationwide celebration in honor of Banned Books Week. The Iowa City Public Library celebrates by holding the Carol Spitzini Intellectual Freedom Festival. The festival includes a number of events such as Banned Books Story Time featuring banned books for children. Officials at the Iowa City Public Library say Banned Books Week is a good time to reflect on individual freedom.
Banned Books Week is a good time to be able to take a step back and just reflect on that we have this freedom, that we live in a democracy, and that our democracy really depends on having that freedom. And
the Iowa City Public Library's main goal for this week is to get people thinking about the importance of protecting their rights.
Our democracy depends on people having freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and that we want to make sure that, we follow the First Amendment and continue to protect that right that we have.
To see the banned books display, you can visit the Iowa City Public Library or check out the list of banned books at www.ala.org.
And saving and reusing water is becoming increasingly important to the University of Iowa. The data center has built a bioretention cell treating water before it is absorbed back into the ground. The data center has a 45,000 square foot roof which collects runoff into the retention cell. Covering the cell is a mix of sand, soil, mulch, and compost with plants. The rainwater is treated as it runs into the ground, keeping the water cycle clean and free from pollutants. The hope is to have the clean water eventually run into the Iowa River, gradually making it cleaner overall.
And a Solon man was charged with first-degree robbery on Tuesday after entering a pharmacy with a weapon. 37-year-old Gregory Engrave allegedly went into Solon Drug and Pharmacy, brandishing a knife and demanding prescription drugs. Engrave's face was partially covered when he fled the scene in a white Ford Taurus. After running the license plate, officials showed a picture of Engrave to the store clerk, who identified him as the robber. First-degree robbery is a Class B felony punishable by up to 25 years in prison. Engrave is being held at the Johnson County Jail on a bond of $100,000.
And while the economy is down, many students are finding any excuse they can to stay in school. But recent studies have found that graduate student enrollment has actually decreased for the first time in 7 years. Daily Iowan TV's Christina Targos sat down with Dean Keller of the Graduate College to try and explain this puzzling trend.
This application season, the Graduate College at the University of Iowa is experiencing something a little out of the ordinary, a decreased enrollment in master's programs. The decrease is nothing to worry about, though, says Dean Keller, Dean of the Graduate College. The decrease in enrollment of the master's programs is only less than 1%, while the Graduate College has the same number of doctoral students as last year. The Graduate College focuses heavily on doctoral programs because they are so close to the undergrad teaching, research, and scholarship mission, while master's programs are more professional. If this decrease in master's programs continues for the next 5 years, the Graduate College will be concerned. But right now, this small percent is only a fluctuation of enrollment. The Graduate College is not completely sure why this minor decrease. A likely reason is the termination and introduction of new programs. The past few years, the humanities, disciplines, and education programs have been down, but the health sciences doctoral programs have been up over 6%. Another factor possibly responsible is the issue of debt.
Students are coming out with more debt as undergrads. It's not clear whether they're not applying and pursuing these degrees because they're afraid of incurring more debt to pursue the master's degrees, or they may have found a job and they don't feel comfortable leaving the job at the moment because they don't know what the future is going to hold.
While graduate enrollment may be down, even if it's only by the slightest percent, the University of Iowa Graduate College is confident that their programs will remain here strong for a long time. Christina Targos, Daily Iowan TV.
The University of Iowa is home to over 150 master's and doctoral programs, but has cut several programs in the last year due to low enrollment.
An Iowa City woman was charged with domestic abuse after attacking her boyfriend on Wednesday. Ashley Clooney, 18, allegedly hit her boyfriend over the head with a drinking glass, a picture frame, and a spatula. The boyfriend told the police the couple had gotten into a heated argument before the physical violence reportedly began. The victim told officials he had pain and bruising in his right arm and a large welt on the back of his head. Officials say the defendant and the victim have been on and off for a year, but had been dating steadily for the past month.
Iowa City is calling all entrepreneurs to get started. Startup Weekend, a 54-hour event starting Friday in the Papa John Business Building, focuses on building web or mobile applications over a single weekend. The purpose of building these applications is to form potentially credible businesses. People in software development, graphic design, and business will come together for the conference. The event will be hosted by the student technology organization STACKed, which also plans to award several scholarships at the event. You can check into this Sunday's Daily Iowan TV for the full coverage.
And still more to come from Daily Iowan TV. See how the Rape Victim Advocacy Program is increasing anti-violence awareness on campus.
And how social networking can harm students' study habits during test time.
Plus, how popular is Iowa football? A New York Times study attempted to answer this question.
All of this and more to come, but first, here with your local weather forecast is Daily Iowan TV's Natalie Vecchio. And Natalie, when can we expect these clouds to clear up?
Well, Reed, Thursday's forecast is looking at a change from the murky weather. In the morning, we'll see partly cloudy skies with 64-degree temperatures, 75 degrees and sunny skies for the afternoon, and a drop only to 58 with clear skies in the evening. Taking a look at our extended forecast, Friday through Monday, we'll have sunny skies with mid-60 degrees weather on the weekend and lower 70 degrees for the start of the next week. We may be leaving the warm weather, but we'll at least have the sun out for the next week to come. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Natalie. The UI's Rape Victim Advocacy Program has started a fall awareness campaign called Live Free, a life on campus free from violence. The campaign promotes educational materials with table tents and posters at the UI dorms, the IMU, throughout Greek houses and on the CAM buses. The increased advertising comes from funding provided by UI student government and the Executive Council of Graduate and Professional Students. The goal of this campaign is to increase awareness of the power of bystanders in violence prevention, as well as speaking up and taking action. The group feels the beginning of the academic year is important for the spreading of awareness of violence issues as new students on campus are on their own for the first time.
And patients at the UI hospitals and clinics receiving an in vitro fertilization treatment mostly support the hospital's policy of transferring a single embryo rather than multiple. The study of 262 patients surveyed found 94% in favor of the policy, and 95% of patients said they had the right amount of input in their IVF treatments. The UIHC's policy includes an educational component denoting the risks for mothers and infants having twins. The risk of transferring multiple embryos is having twins or multiple children in one pregnancy. Only 6% of those surveyed were not at all supportive.
With midterms back once again, more students are turning to Facebook for a distraction. Daily Iowan TV's Ryan Jones took a look at the numbers to find out how students are really spending their study time.
Just how important is Facebook today to college students? When you go to the library, expecting people to be studying for a test, you see them on Facebook and Twitter. But are the rumors of it taking over your life really true?
A new poll is out by Tech News Daily saying 1 in 3 college students believe Facebook is as important as air is. And 1 in 4 college students say that they would rather have Facebook than give up partying, dating, and their social lives. Students here at the University of Iowa were very nervous about the thought of having their Facebooks taken away from them.
I would never delete my Facebook account. I would never delete my Facebook account.
Ever?
Ever.
The survey said people are ditching their face-to-face interactions with each other and replacing them with Facebook. University of Iowa professor Kimberly McLeo disagrees with that.
So the idea that people are replacing face-to-face interactions with online interactions, that kind of anxiety, is also a really old one. So when television came along, people said the same thing. In the big scheme of things, Facebook is just another fad.
Students at the university don't see it as a fad, though. They see it more as a thing that is taking over their lives.
Not say important, but everyone's lives revolve around it, I guess.
Fad or not, Facebook plays a huge role with students. I'm Ryan Jones for Daily Iowan Television.
But Facebook isn't the only distraction. With new social media outlets like Tumblr and Google+ gaining popularity, students have more options than ever to take their minds off their books. And Reed, I really find that Twitter's a big distraction for me. I don't know about you.
I'm always on my Facebook, so it's very distracting. And now, Daily Iowan TV Sports, Ian Martin joins us at the desk. And Ian, most athletes have been playing their sport since they could walk. But one member of the UI field hockey team is relatively new to the game.
Yeah, you would expect someone who is playing a college sport to have played that game for 10 or more years, but that is not the case. The University of Iowa's field hockey goalie Kathleen McGraw has not always been a fan of the game. She grew up planning to play collegiate softball, but decided to trade in her bat for a stick after her sophomore year of high school. In an effort to make friends after moving to St. Francis School in California for the start of her freshman year, McGraw decided to try out for the school's field hockey team. She felt she had a pretty good chance of making the team because the sport was relatively new to the school and a lot of other players were trying out for the first time as well. She ended up making the squad, and the rest is history. Daily Iowan TV's Kate Constable takes us to the field with McGraw.
Yes, I just had more fun playing it than I did softball. As soon as I got really into field hockey at a more serious level, it was something that I liked the challenge. It was something new. I had been playing softball for a really long time, and it was just a change, and I really liked the games.
And deciding to play for Iowa was an easy decision for McGraw. Living in California, McGraw's team did not travel to tournaments in the Midwest, but that did not stop her. She looked up the top teams in the country and saw the Hawkeyes on the list, and after coming to a training camp in Iowa City, McGraw fell in love with the facilities and committed. However, Coach Tracy Griesbaum said it was peculiar because McGraw actually sought out her team.
We're looking for a goalkeeper her year, but she expressed a ton of interest in us. So she kind of actually was the first initiators because she wasn't at a lot of tournaments that we were going to recruit.
And McGraw will be in goal next on October 1st when the 12th-ranked Hawkeyes travel to Ann Arbor to take on the Michigan Wolverines. And a recent New York Times study attempted to quantify the number of college football fans per team using a variety of factors such as Google searches and TV ratings in large markets. Daily Iowan TV Sports' Shane Carney analyzes the surprisingly high ranking of the Hawkeyes.
Many college football fans will say that their team is number one, but unless sports writers and coaches are voting for their team from week to week, very few fans can take that claim. So what about popularity? Who has the number one fan base in the country? Surprisingly enough, Hawkeye Nation ranks towards the top.
An article published on a New York Times sports blog called The Geography of College Football Fans presented results of a study which determined who are the most popular college football teams in the country. The study took into consideration television media markets, Google search traffic, and a census map of college football fans. And so the question remains, who is number one?
I would say number one would maybe be like USC or something like that. Number two maybe like Alabama, or probably number three maybe like an Oregon.
I'd have to say Florida, Oklahoma, and Texas.
Although Iowa did not top the rankings, 3 other Big Ten schools did, with Ohio State taking the top spot. Impressively, Iowa did make it into the top 25, coming in at number 15, which to some Iowa fans may come as a bit of a surprise.
I'm honored to be ranked number 15. Like you said, Iowa doesn't really get a lot of recognition for anything.
And if you're interested in reading the rest of this article, which also goes into how their results might show how the current conference realignment pans out, you can go to NewYorkTimes.com and simply search The Geography of College Football Fans. I'm Shane Carney, Daily Iowan TV.
Thanks a lot, Shane. And interestingly enough, the Big Ten actually had the 3 most popular teams in the country, according to the study, with Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, 1, 2, and 3, respectively. Now, Reed, you don't often think of Iowa as a national presence in college football, but according to the study, the Hawkeyes are not unnoticed.
That's not a bad number, 15th in rank.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Thursday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read the profiles of Iowa City bloggers covering the Iowa caucuses. Plus, get a preview of the 18 and up voter registration event being held at the summit this weekend.
And before we leave you, let's take a look at your local weather forecast. You won't be seeing many clouds tomorrow, as we'll see partly cloudy skies Thursday morning with 64 degrees, 75 and sunny throughout the day, and clear skies with a cool 58 degrees at night.
And that's all that we have time for this edition of Daily Iowan TV. You can tune in tomorrow at the same time or check us out online at dailyiowan.com. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Megan Grody. Thanks for watching and have a great night.